Welcome to the Crush Cravings with Confidence podcast. I'm Coach Lisa Callahan, a recovered emotional eater. I ended decades of self-inflicted struggles with food through taking a journey of self-discovery, which revealed the secrets of what was going on underneath the food. Throughout this podcast, we'll explore topics that are rarely talked about, like low self-esteem, lack of confidence, people-pleasing, and decades of self-sabotaging behaviors. Rather than just focusing on the food, we'll dive deeper into aspects of who you are as a person and how you ended up relying on food for comfort to begin with. My mission is simple: to empower women to regain their confidence and prioritize self-love, regardless of the number on the scale. Discover what you've really been craving, and trust me, it's not about the food. This podcast is based on insights shared from the Women's Emotional Eating Community Support Group on Facebook, so be sure to check out the show notes for the link to the group and a complimentary gift just for you. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hey, welcome to another fun and insightful episode of the Crush Cravings with Confidence podcast. Today's topic is going to be so exciting because I think it's one that many women think is impossible. And I'm here to teach you today that nothing is impossible. In fact, the very word impossible alone, if you just add a little apostrophe to it, says I'm possible. And that's what I want to teach you today, that everything is possible. So our topic today is called I Stopped Dieting and I Lost Weight. Go figure. It's going to be revelations from an emotional eater. And we have a special guest today who is an expert on this topic. Her name is Robin King. Robin, welcome to the Crush Cravings with Confidence podcast.
Hello, Lisa. How are you? And hello to your listeners. I am so happy to be here because I have something really cool to share with you. And I think you're going to get something out of it. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere because I have something that I want to.
Yeah, don't go anywhere because this is one of the most incredible topics that I have barely ever heard about. And it was a revelation that Robin has actually come up with on her own. So I'm so excited to share this with you today and to have Robin here as a special guest so that she can fill you in on all the details about what she's discovered. So Robin's a student from my Crush That Food Thing self-discovery system. And I invited her on the podcast today because she has fixed her emotional eating habits from the inside out, which has consequently freed her from the diet merry-go-round. So Robin no longer diets at all. And some of you might be thinking, well, okay, she must have put on weight then. No, she did not put on weight when she stopped dieting. Her body, actually, since she stopped dieting, has released about 20 pounds of old baggage, which can be seen in her clothes and can be seen on the number on the scale. But she really only knows that by going to the doctors because, her regular checkups and such, because she no longer weighs herself at all. And I know from like what I used to struggle with, I was weighing myself every day. So this was something that I thought was unheard of because I thought I had to weigh myself. I had to be on a diet. And if I didn't, I just figured that I would gain like tons and tons of weight. But through Robin's journey of self-discovery, she has learned something about dieting that she would like to share with us. And she's actually coined this specific term of not dieting as newitis. And so if you want to learn how to stop dieting so that you can lose weight, grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to write some notes down that Robin has to share with us. She's going to teach us what newitis is, how to discover if you have newitis, and what you can do to stop newitis in its tracks so that you can lose weight naturally for good. All right, Robin, you are up. So tell us a little bit about your journey and, how it all started and how you discovered what newitis is, and just take us back.
Yeah, sure. It sounds a little bit sci-fi-ish, doesn't it? Like, how can you actually lose weight? You're not focused on losing weight. I get it. I mean, I was that same way. And a typical day for me would have been like getting up and deciding that today is going to be a good day. And I'm going to follow all of the rules and I'm going to count all of my points and my carbs and my sugar and all of those things we keep track of. And I always had a really pretty journal You have one of those. I always had a little pretty journal that I wrote in, and I wrote everything that I ate and I put it all down. And I might do that for, I don't know, 3, 4 days, sometimes a couple of months. And then I would stop and I'd start over and I'd get another pretty journal. You've done it before. I know you have. I'd get a journal and I would start all over again. And so that was the tip. I was so focused on food that I was not living. And I bet that some of your listeners, Coach Callahan, I'm sure that some of them are in that same space. And I want to show you and tell you about something that can get you out of that space and give you freedom so that you can live.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. I remember when we first started to work together, and I remember you kind of had an idea of like how things were. And when we started to talk about like, well, why are they this way? Like, why do you feel like you have to count calories? Why do you feel like you have to, be monitoring every single bite you eat? You kind of didn't feel like there was any other way to be. And so why do you think that that was like where your starting place was? Like, what was that all about?
Well, it was all about the fact that I was looking all outside of me and looking for the answers there, for the next new thing. That's the clue to this word that we're talking about today. I was looking for the next new thing. So I felt like in order to lose weight and become this person that I desire to be, that's how I had to get there. And I want to share with you a way that you don't have to do that anymore. You can actually gain life and lose weight at the same time. And I promise you, if you listen to me and really pay attention to what I'm saying, it's a guarantee. You just have to trust me. Okay.
Awesome. So tell us like what is newitis and how did you discover this? This is a new word, right? This is a coined word by you, like you came up with it. And I'll never forget when we were on a coaching call one day, you basically shared, you're like, I have newitis. And I'm like, what is that? And so tell us like what that is and like why you decided to call it that.
Well, on that coaching call, I was thinking about all of the things that I had done. So I was thinking about the newest diet, and I was thinking about the newest diet pill, and the herbal supplement, and the shot, and all of these different things. And I even, if Coach Lisa remembers, she may not, um, but I did some name dropping. Like I follow this person, and I follow that person. And Coach Lisa was like, uh-huh, okay. She just listened as I name dropped all these important people. And I thought to myself, well, my goodness, all of these things I do, I think I have a chronic case of newitis because I keep doing all of these new things and I haven't really gotten to the root of what the problem is. And if Coach Lisa will allow me to, I was very resistant at first to really hear anything other than what I knew at the time because, well, I just felt like I had read all these books and gone to all these summits and done all of this stuff. And I thought, I know. And yet there was a part of me in the back of my head, and you might feel this way as well. There was a part of me that it wasn't sinking. I knew something wasn't right. I just didn't know what it was yet. So, newitis is when you are out there, you're trying all these different things, and you're thinking that that's going to be the answer to your problem. And when it's not, and it could be for a while, because as Coach Lisa says, diets do work. And they do. They
Yeah.
work for a while until they don't. And then you start over with something new. And that's the newitis part. Okay, that's the first thing for you to look out for. If you're
Yeah.
always something new, you probably have newitis.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of times people come into this thinking that I just have to lose weight. I just have to lose weight. And then we start to learn that like weight is a symptom of an underlying problem.
Mhm.
But if you're continuing with the newitis of looking for like, how can I lose weight? This person lost weight this way. This person lost weight that way. Then what you end up doing is you never end up, number one, discovering what the root cause of the problem is. And you, number two, never get to identify yourself as like
Mhm.
a unique human being because even with diets and foods and such, like I know one time I had a girl who I don't know, I saw her and she looked like she lost 20 pounds, and I said to her, I'm like, what did you do? And she's like, oh, well, I went on this new thing at the time. It was paleo. And she's like, oh, and it's so good. I get to like make these like yummy pancakes and whatever. Well, I started making paleo pancakes and I gained 5 pounds because one person's perfect food is another person's poison.
Right.
And so that's why, without being able to like understand yourself on a root system and actually like know what is best for you, and then also not being able to see like, well, why don't I have this intuition inside of me enough to be able to like know like what I'm supposed to eat, when I'm hungry, when I'm not hungry, like be able to stop,
Mhm.
all of that stuff. And then you're just kind of like looking at that diet saying, well, I'm supposed to eat at 6 a.m. I'm supposed to eat 8 a.m. I'm supposed to eat at 11 a.m. I'm supposed to have all these little meals and supposed to take these pills and all of that stuff. Like all that does is it's literally like it keeps you at arm's length away from yourself.
That's right. It keeps you stuck, and it actually takes you further away from the person that you're probably saying you want to be, this version of you that you want to become, this whole undivided person full of integrity. It's keeping you further away from that because you're looking at all these different things, and all these different things people are telling you to do. So that's one thing to look for. If you are a person who has 10, 15, 20 diet books, health books, fitness books. You know what I'm going to encourage you to do? Take them to, I don't know, some place where you can sell books or you can just give the books away. That's just so much information. It's too much information. And so you're crowding out anything that could be meaningful and purposeful for you because you have all these different voices coming at you from these different books. And so one thing that I did was I just got rid of all those books. I kept one or two and I got rid of all those books off my bookshelf. It left things a little bare and even dusty. There was an area that was a little dusty because I had all these books and I had these books everywhere. I had them in my kitchen, my living room, my bedroom. I had all of these books. And so if you have 15, 20, I don't know, maybe even more books, you might be suffering from some newitis. And you might want to clean that up just a little bit. And so you can begin to trust yourself more. And we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and that's also such an opportunity to have like information overload. And what
Yes.
it does is it confuses your like mindset so much that, I mean, a couple of things. You sit there and you stare at the books on the shelf in your, book graveyard, right? Because that's really what it is. And then you kind of can feel disappointed with yourself, like, oh, I never made it through that book. I couldn't even finish this book. It gives you that. It also gives you a sense of false superiority, like, wow, look at me. Like I bought another book, and I must be really into healthiness. I must be, or, being healthy minded. Like I know the right things to eat because look, I've got this cookbook in the kitchen. I've got this book, this zone book in the bathroom, and I've got this, book by my nightstand. And so kind of gives you this false sense of superiority in a way where you're like, I know what to do. But
Mhm.
then you never get to the root of why you're not actually doing it. It's
Yeah.
actually called, there's a term for this, actually called analysis paralysis. Have you ever heard of that one before?
Have I heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I have. I
Yeah.
have.
And yeah, analysis paralysis. So in addition to it being a symptom of newitis,
Yes.
it actually gives you information where you're like ping ponging all over the place. And then you never again land on like what's the root cause of the problem because like right, in your own space now, it's like you're not like searching for information outside of yourself. Like if something comes into your space, like if something comes and finds you, you're happy to look at it. And yet you're not like it's not steering you in a different direction, like where you want to be. So now, like you said, you're feeling like whole and undivided. You're not letting things like sway you this way and sway you that way, and it becomes so confusing that you actually like lose a part of yourself by having all this information.
Yeah.
So
It just stops you from doing anything. Well, the analysis paralysis. You don't do anything because you have so much information coming at you from every part, zinging from every area, from every direction, that you end up doing nothing. And that's analysis part is that you don't do anything at all. And
Yeah.
one other thing, just a third thing for you to consider, and we've talked a little bit about this already, was this starting over business. And I want to tell you, nobody could start over like me. And I always started over on a Monday. Why, you ask? Well, I started over on a Monday because I got to cheat for Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday would roll around and I'd be all right. I'm ready to go. I'm going to start this thing on Monday. Except I started it on that Monday and then a couple of Mondays down, the month. And then I just never, ever did anything that was sustainable. And so if you find yourself always starting over, you know, on a Monday, or maybe you start, I don't know, maybe you start on a different day. Monday was just a good day for me. If
I
you
was
find,
a Monday.
if you
Actually,
find,
I was like an every day. It was like every day. It was like today is going to be a good day.
yeah, that can happen as well. That can happen as well. I could usually make it a week, maybe. I can make it a week. And if I didn't make it a week, if I stopped like on a Thursday or something, then I'd say, okay, oh, well, I'll just, I mean, I've messed up already. So I'm off the track, is what I would tell myself. I know that's not true anymore. And so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll just treat myself really poorly because that's what I was doing. And then I'll start on Monday and I'll treat myself really good until I didn't. So if you find yourself doing that, I want you to really think about this term newitis and see if that might be you, if that might be something that you're doing. Okay.
And that was definitely, and I think like most women or most people who struggle with this, like definitely can relate to that. And you're right. When it was like a new diet, something new, like a system, I bought into a lot of those like systems that, you mailed away for the package. And then, you got the 5 different flavors of shakes and they were all these flavors that were like cookies and cream. And it was like, all the caramel and like all these like yummy things, and you're right. When I had like a new system where I was going to like start taking pills or bars or whatever, you're right. I always did start over again on a Monday. And yeah, I can definitely relate to that. So let's recap.
Okay.
So newitis is where you are going to be looking all over the place for like new information and you're searching for this. It's not like it's just, even coming to you, like you're thumbing around on Facebook. How many, and Robin, we didn't even talk about this, but I think this is really valid, cleaning up your Facebook stuff because you might be following 20 different coaches, 20 different methods, 20 different, searches in there. I don't know if you want to speak on that at all, Robin, but
Uh,
is
I,
that
I,
part of newitis?
it is part of newitis. And when you are actively searching for something new, this next new thing, this other thing that's going to solve the problem for you, then, that is what I consider to be newitis. And I did clean up my iPhone. And I'll tell you, I cleaned up my podcast. I probably had 50 different podcasts on my phone. And I just went through and I thought, is this meaningful or purposeful? Have I even listened to this in the last 6 months? The answer was no. Got rid of it. I got rid of a lot of Facebook groups and I just pared it down to the things that were the most purposeful and meaningful for me at that time, or what I thought. And because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have so much information that I couldn't take in anything that was really
Right.
meaningful to
Yeah.
me.
So
I
this was as you were healing, as you were like recovering from this
Yeah,
newitis. Because
absolutely.
before that, even just seeing like this podcast, let's say with this, Dr. So and so and, this nutrition guru, just that alone, like even being in your like podcast list, you kind of felt like, oh, I'm doing the right things. But then on the flip side of that, you were also, struggling with overeating and maybe like becoming excited if you were going to go to a certain city that had your favorite vegan bakery and you were just going to get like all the things and like so there was a lot of other struggles that came into when you weren't following those diet plans, right? And
Right.
so
Yes. And the other thing about that is as you're listening to, this person and that person and reading, sometimes it's a conflict. So one person says, drink, I don't know, 60 ounces of water. And the other person says, well, that's too much, drink. There's just so much stuff and it conflicts. So you don't know what to do. You're all over the place because you don't know what to do. And you haven't really taken the time to figure out what works best for you. And that's where the homework comes in. That's where your real homework comes in because the answer's not out there. It's not in a book. It's not on a podcast. There's some good ones out there and some great things that you can learn to enhance your life. The real answers for the reasons why you do things that harm you when you say you really want to do something else, when you really want to be this other person and you want to be healthy and you want to be well and you want to even lose weight. The real reason is inside of you and you have to do that work. You have to do your homework, just like you tell your kids, get in there and do your homework. You have to do your homework so that you can understand and finally begin to heal those pieces inside of you that keep dragging you further away from that person that you say you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because what we end up doing, and like I shared before about like, you're looking at all these books on the shelf that you haven't finished. You know what to eat, but then you don't eat it. So what does that end up giving you? It ends up giving you guilt,
Mm-hmm.
shame,
Mm-hmm.
disappointment, regret, sadness, anger. The list goes on. And what we teach in Crush That Food Thing self-discovery system is that these feelings that you're getting afterwards, meaning like at first you're like, oh wow, I want to do something good for myself, so I'm going to go get a new book, I'm going to go listen to a new podcast, I'm going to go buy a new system. And so on the front end of that, it feels like you're trying to do something great for yourself. But the thing is if you don't discover like the roots of why it is that you even are in that position to begin with, where you're not eating the right things, you don't know how to listen intuitively to your body, you don't know how to hear the signs and symptoms of hunger, because even being hungry scares a lot of people. Like it's just like terrifying. It's like, I don't ever want to be hungry. So we start to eat things and we overfuel ourselves. We actually overfeed ourselves to the point where we feel like maybe we're trying to fill some kind of hole inside of us. And
Yeah.
then we just want to feel full, but we can never really get full. Maybe we can for a minute while we feel nauseous from everything that we've eaten. But the thing is being able to understand where that hole actually starts and where it comes from and how to heal it. Because if you don't, on the flip side of that feeding frenzy, when you've now just ignored all of the diet books and you've ignored all the information and you just are like, to heck with it, I'm just going to do what I want. And you get to that feeling of sadness or disappointment or anger or guilt or shame or whatever, that is when you are actually fueling the subconscious craving for that feeling about yourself. And so, Robin, you had actually, through this journey and through being able to understand and coin the term newitis, which we are getting this in the dictionary next year. That's what we're gonna apply. We need a space in the dictionary. But before you were able to, I mean, while you were figuring that out, and I know that I've shared that I felt like I was subconsciously craving guilt. And for you, that didn't 100% resonate, but another feeling actually did. And I don't know if you would be open to sharing a little bit of what you feel like you were craving and how you kind of put all this together and recognized your habit of having newitis and were able to actually fix this from the roots.
Sure. So I thought about, I heard and listened to the other things like guilt and shame, and none of that, it just didn't resonate with me. I wasn't sure just yet what it was. However, I was in my pantry one afternoon and I was digging into, do you know what Lorna Doone cookies are? Does anybody know what, those little square shortbread? They're so good. Those little shortbread, Luna Dorn cookies.
Lauren,
Was
yeah,
I,
Lauren would do.
yes. What are they called? Say it again. What's the name?
They're called Lorna Dunes. I
There you go.
used to have a method of eating these. Like I made them into like a triangle, and there's that the words are in the middle. So I would have to bite off one side, bite off the other, and then I would eat the middle. It's very,
Yes,
yeah.
and so they come in a sleeve. So you can just. I mean, I did. I could get rid of an entire sleeve of those Lorna Doone cookies, and I was reaching in to my pantry to get those one day, and it just came to me. I thought, Robin, wait just a second. you really don't want that. What is it? What is the feeling that you're searching for? Because I'd been in Crush That Food thing for a little bit at that time, and it came to me. Do you know what I was searching for? I was searching for
Yeah.
insecurity. Insecurity. I'd been insecure or felt insecure for much of my life. And what's so ironic about this is that I don't know, I had positions of where I was in administrative positions and things like that. And so it may have appeared, one way. I was so messed up on the inside. I
Yeah.
had this external thing that may have looked okay. I don't know. Coach Lisa probably would have been able to see that. However, I felt like I was reaching for insecurity, and at that moment, I stopped myself and I thought, do you want to feel insecure? Is that what you really want? And I thought, I don't. I don't want to feel insecure. I don't want that anymore. And I closed the pantry and I walked away and I continued to grow and to heal. When I think about women, and I bet you've been here before, I know you have, because we lose weight and then we gain it back. We lose weight and then we gain it back. And I thought about that and I thought, why? I mean, if you look, how come it doesn't just stay off? Why
Yep.
do you have to go on another diet? And yet, when you work from the outside in, so you get everything all pretty on the
Yeah.
outside, but you're still yucked up on the inside, you haven't really healed the root of your problem. And so it is possible that you're going to gain weight back, maybe even more,
Yeah.
because you're not in alignment with yourself.
Yeah, because if there and just speaking about it from this angle, like if there is or what if there was a version of you that had already felt insecure, putting that weight on, that would go ahead and add to the insecurity.
Yeah,
Taking it off though, technically it feels like it's like, well, if I lose weight, then I'll feel good about myself. And you do for like a half a second or a couple weeks or maybe in a few months.
uh-huh.
And yet at the same time, if that insecurity is in there and you had used that weight to fuel that insecurity to begin with, if you don't heal that insecurity in yourself, then it's going to come out in a lot of different ways. And the putting it back on the weight, like a lot of people will tell me, they're like, well, like maybe somebody will tell me like they feel invisible or they feel unloved or unwanted, and then they lose weight and they start to feel like, well, uh-oh, now I'm going to get attention from people. And so people will tell me that they feel like they actually have kept weight on their bodies so that they
Absolutely.
feel invisible, so that they don't, but they're putting that out there. So it's a
Right.
really, really, really cool thing. And being able to gain a sense of awareness about this has
Yes.
helped many, many women that we work with actually shed weight off their bodies without dieting anymore. So,
Right. And I did it through Crush That Food thing just because I was not aware. I wasn't aware. As I said earlier, I did have an inkling that there was something that wasn't aligning. But Crush That Food thing really taught me how to nobody told me what to do. Coach Lisa and the other coaches don't tell you what to do. They lead you into self-discovery and you discover it for yourself. And it's almost like, I have an education background. And if you do something for a student, they don't learn. You learn, you might even get better, but they don't learn. When you do it yourself, then you learn. And so that's what happens in Crush That Food thing. You learn yourself. They lead you into this path of self discovery. And I'm telling you, once you go there, you never go back because it's such a great feeling of finally discovering what the root causes are. And then you can begin to heal.
yeah. And we talk about this a little bit we just had an open house for Crush That Food Thing Self-Discovery
Mhm.
System. In fact, I will go ahead and put the open house recording of for Crush Everything Self-Discovery System in the show notes. So if anybody wants to grab that and go ahead and watch the actual open house for what Crush Everything Self-Discovery System is all about, what it's like, and how we help our students take a journey of self-discovery to identify their invisible emotional relationship with food, because this is an invisible problem. Like when Robin didn't realize what she didn't realize, she was kind of struggling again, looking outside of herself and not recognizing with awareness. And that's really what this is all about. It's a key to this, is being able to become aware so that you can become curious and want to discover a new version of the truth for you. And that is really what we teach you how to do. Robin,
Uh,
would there be anything else you'd like to share before we head out here?
Oh, I just wanted to say that just for specifics, one thing that you might want to try is to clear out your cabinet. Get rid of all your old supplements and your old vitamins. And I had some when I cleared mine out. I think they expired like in 2017 or 16 or something like that. So clear out everything, okay, so that you can make room for something that's really meaningful and purposeful for you. And then I want to say as the last thing, you are the gatekeeper of your own mind. You get to decide what enters your mind. And so you get to do the things that are, and I've said it over again, maybe 3 or 4 times, but I want to emphasize that you get to decide what is purposeful and what is meaningful for you. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're compassionate, and you can do the work to get to this place that you want to be. You can get from over here and you can get to this being, this human that you want to become. And is it work? Sure. But anything worthwhile doing, it takes some work. And I'll tell you, if you take a journey of self discovery with Coach Lisa and the other coaches in this group, you're going to become a different human. You're going to become a better human, and you're going to feel better about yourself because you've healed yourself from the inside out. And then you know what? You also look good on the outside because you
Yeah.
feel good on the inside, and that just radiates out. So
It
yeah.
really does. And we were just actually talking to one of the gals in our coaching community today who has really begun to heal from the inside out. And she actually mentioned today just this very exact thing. She said, it's so interesting. She said, because I'm going to the same place that I always go. She goes and swims every day. So it's at the pool. And she's
Mhm.
like, and suddenly I realized that like there's people that are just like coming up to me and saying hi. She goes, people are being really friendly. And she goes, and I'm realizing that what that is that I am releasing this feeling from inside that I'm unlovable or that I'm invisible or that people won't want to talk to me, that insecurity. She goes, I'm starting to shift that. And she goes, and it's energetically like drawing people to me. And I didn't even know that was going to happen. That was like a perk.
Yeah.
So,
My last story is I was at the bank one day and just recently here, and so I was talking to a young lady, and so I said something about having a birthday and turning 65. And age is just a number, right? It doesn't matter if you're 65, 75, 85. It's never too late to begin to treat yourself with love and compassion. But this
that
was
is
just what
right.
I said something about being 65, and she said, I'm telling you something. If Jesus don't bless me the way he's blessed you at 65, I'm going to have a problem. So it was really just kind of funny, and kind of a cute little story. So again, that doesn't matter. The age doesn't matter. What matters, because the days are going to go by anyway, right? So next year is going, Father Time does not stop. So the days are going to go by anyway. So do you want to, and there's something that you say, Coach Lisa, and I can't off the top of my head, do you want to live one day 100 times or
Yes. And that is an amazing thing. It's, do you want to live 100 years? So like you just think, okay, well, I'm born, and then 100 is like a goal, I would say. Do
Mhm.
you want to live 100 single years of your life, or do you want to live 1 year 100 times? And that's what happens when a lot of people get stuck in this past pattern where they feel unlovable, they feel angry, they feel regretful, they feel sad, they feel alone. And that year, because of what they had happened in the past, a past
Mhm.
traumatic experience, they might be reliving that over and over again. And I know that, most women who come in to work with me, self included, do
Mhm.
come from past traumatic experiences. But what we will learn here is that trauma is actually meant to be experienced. It's not
Yeah.
meant to be camped out in.
No.
So, it's just speaking to the age, the thing, we just signed up a new gal the other day who is 78 years old. And
I love it.
our oldest member actually ever was 82. And man, it's such a blessing. So a lot of women come to me and they're like, well, I'm 63. Is this going to work for
Yeah,
me? I've been this way my whole life. Okay, great. What's tomorrow going to bring you?
exactly. Yeah,
And that,
I love it. I love You can always choose to change. Always. 85
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You can always choose it. If you're sitting around waiting to feel ready, then it may ready day may never come. But you can always choose change. It doesn't matter the age at all.
Yeah. And that's why this whole topic today of like, turning something that you might feel is impossible, like, how could I lose weight if I don't go on a diet, Lisa? Turning that impossible into I'm possible. So, Robin, thank you so, so much for being here today. It was so amazing.
Thank
And
you.
just,
I loved it.
I loved every minute of it too. And just remember, if anybody does want to check out Crush That Food Thing Self-Discovery System this week in the show notes, I will go ahead and put the open house that was in there. We also have a couple of smaller courses. If you just want to get like a bite size, like a taste of self-discovery, you'll see a link in there for something called the Mindset Makeover. It's a 21-day step-by-step process to help you stop eating your emotions. So it's called the Mindset Makeover, 21 days to stop eating your emotions. It's a small little class with a lot of information. It's got like packed into information. And you also get to join a free Facebook community with that class. So it's really cool because we have a support system in there and it's really neat. There's another opportunity called the Confidence Mastery mini course. And this one is really awesome. If you feel like you can't gain confidence in yourself until you lose weight, this is going to teach you how to feel confident in yourself first. And then once you feel confident in yourself, you'll see that you'll start making decisions from your highest self, from a version of you that actually wants to treat yourself well. And you'll be able to stop using food to hurt yourself. So you'll naturally be able to take off weight just by treating yourself as you would a friend. And again, if you want to learn more about our elite coaching community called Crush That Food Thing Self-Discovery System, where we help hundreds of women take a journey of self-discovery, you can send me an email at lisa@coachlisacallahan.com, attention podcast, and then I will know to reach out to you as well. So Robin, thank you so, so much. Do you have anything last message to say here to the
Thank you
guests?
for allowing me to connect with your listeners. And the last thing that I want to say to your listeners is to get off of the hamster wheel, step off of the hamster wheel and step into your life. Okay.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because you deserve to live an
Yeah,
extraordinary life where
absolutely.
food does not invade every thought in your mind. All
Absolutely.
right. All
Thank
right,
you.
everyone. Bye for now. See you on the
Bye.
next one. Bye. All right, my beautiful friend. That brings us to the end of another episode from the Crush Cravings with Confidence podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening today and took something from our conversation that you are going to put into immediate action. I love spending time with you and would be so grateful if you would share this podcast with at least one friend today who you think might be struggling too. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any other amazing topics. And please, please do leave me a review. It would mean the world to me. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.